greater spotlight on some of the details that you have to be good at, that Caitlin could cover up with her incredible skill, her range, the way she
refused to speak. No tweet. No press release. No warning. Caitlin Clark walked into that private Nike studio with exactly one person beside her. Not her coach. Not her agent. Not her parents. But Sophie Cunningham, and that detail matters more than anything Nike ever put on screen, because in an ecosystem obsessed with hierarchy, messaging, and optics, this wasn't branding. It was alignment. It wasn't a rollout. It was a signal. The loudest statement wasn't the sneaker, the lighting, or the edit. It was who stood next to her when the doors closed and the camera stopped rolling. Sophie Cunningham is not part of the polite script. She doesn't represent league diplomacy, institutional patience, or carefully curated consensus. She represents edge. Resistance. Someone who has absorbed the physicality, the politics, the resentment, and the double standards of this league and never once pretended otherwise. Bringing her into that room wasn't about friendship. It was about trust. About choosing someone who understands exactly how brutal the terrain is and doesn't flinch when it turns hostile.
You know what I mean? And like, I get it to a certain extent, and like every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're going to treat them. But there's just more.
What happened next wasn't just historic, it was emotional, personal, and completely unprecedented in basketball. A rookie calmly handed over a piece of her $25 million empire on camera without hesitation, without theatrics, without blinking. In that moment, the balance of power shifted, and the WNBA was never going to be the same. Caitlin Clark isn't simply changing the league, she's rewriting the rules that govern it, operating several moves ahead while everyone else is still reacting. Nike had been watching her since Iowa, long before the contracts, the noise, or the league fully understood what it had on its hands. That's why this moment mattered. It wasn't a marketing stunt, it was a quiet redistribution of leverage in plain sight. When asked about matching up against other Nike athletes and whether she had a favorite, Clark smiled, aware of the weight behind the question, and answered with measured respect, calling one opponent an icon and acknowledging the competitive energy you feel the moment you share the floor with her. No forced drama, no performative name-dropping, just control, awareness, and intention. That's the through line people keep missing. Caitlin Clark doesn't chase moments, she lets them surface naturally, and when they do, she's already positioned 3 moves ahead. This wasn't about a shoe or a deal. It was about power changing hands quietly, confidently, and without asking permission.
You got to match up against other Nike hoopers. Do you have a favorite matchup?
You're gonna get me in trouble. Honestly, I'll just, because she's such an icon in our sport and has been in the game for so long. You know, getting to share the court with her was pretty fun, and you just see her competitive spirit, even though you're not on her.
Resources Nike puts behind Caitlin Clark, now that we're going to start getting some of her merchandise coming out, and fans are indeed excited. I miss my GOAT playing. Gonna go ham on this commercial. I thought it was a nice commercial myself. Where is her own shoe? We're waiting on that. We are waiting on that. Wow. Y'all must have a fever or something. Oh, what a great double play on word.
When she dropped 40 points on national television, the boardroom took notice. When she filled arenas that even NBA teams struggled to sell out, the offer was approved. And when she signed a $25 million deal, the largest shoe contract ever for a WNBA player, Nike believed the story was finished. Caitlin Clark would be the face, the billboard, the singular icon. But Caitlin had other plans, because she never intended to build her legacy alone. 1 week before the campaign launched, she made a private call to Nike with an unusual request, a custom design. A single golden box inside a sneaker that didn't yet exist, a white and gold prototype with legacy embroidered on the tongue and initials not only her own, but Sophie Cunningham's as well. Nike hesitated, signature deals don't work like that. Caitlin didn't flinch. She told them, I didn't get here alone, and I won't stay here alone. Eventually, they said yes. On the day of the shoot, with lights flashing and cameras rolling, Caitlin opened the box, turned to Sophie, and said simply, "This is ours." In that moment, she split the spotlight in half. No WNBA star had ever done that. Sophie isn't the loudest name or the biggest brand, but she's one of the toughest players in the league, someone who's spent years absorbing hard fouls, trash talk, and thankless minutes. It was a quiet acknowledgement of loyalty and grind, delivered without spectacle, and it changed the meaning of the moment entirely.